Hello, welcome. You are in the Africa House. Probably some of you have been here before. Some of you, this is a new time to come along. My name is Amy Zamripa. I'm the chair of a BAME literature organization called Writing a Legacy. This is our first night in collaboration with Africa House and African Light Fever, a massive African music promoter in this beautiful venue. And tonight we present a new kind of evening that is presenting spoken word, poetry, live African music, and also DJ music in the spirit of bringing the community together for all of us to be of all different walks of life, of backgrounds, whether you're black, you're white, you're Latina like I am, originally from Texas, or wherever. We're here to really celebrate our differences in light of Brexit. If I'm honest, that this is kind of what it's about. It's like, actually, we can just be like, fuck you, Brexit. We're here, we're all colors, and we're together. And so from what I can see around the room, that's what I see. So it's brilliant. So please put your hands together just for being here to support us. And so the layout for the evening, so this evening's called Poetry Room, and we couldn't have done it without Monique and Lai, who work here from Africa House. In our incredible house. It's a beautiful venue. I just want to kind of move in here now. Don't tell them. I just work and drink their coffee, which is provided by pharmacy, but anyways, that's enough of the plugs. And we, to start us off, we have a few inspirational talks. I've brought tonight Colin Grant, who's somebody that, I don't even know how I got to meet him. He lives in Brighton. He's an incredible thinker and intellectual, and he has worked for the BBC. He's written loads of books. He's a historian. I'm just going to let him kind of do the talking. He's about to publish a book about the Windrush generation, which is about oral histories that he's gathered. And it's one of many books that he's published, but it's, in the year that we're celebrating Windrush, this year is the anniversary, and so it's really important. And he's going to help and give us a bit of inspiration. And then after that, we're going to have an incredible choral master called Jolly, who's lying in the next room. It's really, really neat to have him. I can't wait. He's going to come and perform the kora for us, and maybe answer a few of your questions if you've ever wanted to ask any. Then we're going to have a break. And then we're going to have two electric poets who I know very well. One, Akila Richards, who's Afro-German, incredible poet, performer, scriptwriter, just somebody who's just going to completely change the room, and as will Spliff Richard. They're both right here. They're just incredible kind of hip-hop influenced wordsmith, and I'll let them say a bit more about themselves. Tonight is happening because of Arts Council England, Brighton Hove City Council, East Sussex Arts Partnership, and many other funders, as well as our lovely partners and people and yourself. So please put your hands together for Colin Grant.
Thanks, Amy. And Jar Rastafari. That's home county's Luton patois for you. Anybody here from Luton? Yeah, sisters in the house. That is my sister, actually. Anybody born here in England? Anybody born in England? Yeah. Okay. Anybody identify as English? Oh. Diminished numbers. Well, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the fact that I'm English. I was born in Luton. So I've written 4 other books I wrote a book about Marcus Garvey. I wrote a book about the original Whalers. In the beginning, there was Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Whaler. Each one of them could have been the one. One was chosen, and two were eclipsed. And I constructed a narrative around why that might be so and what kind of men these were. So, who knows Bob Marley? You heard of Bob Marley?
Yeah.
So, Bob Marley, fair-skinned, photogenic, accommodator. He's not going to sell out, but he's going to do the thing you need to do in order to get on. Am I sounding a bit tinny to you?
Yeah.
I don't normally sound so tinny. I know I sound very, very loud. Peter Tosh, very tall, taller than me, always wore dark glasses, scared people, seemed to enjoy scaring people. If you went to interview Peter Tosh, you might be peeling a mango with a machete. And if you didn't like the question, he'd start flashing the machete in front of you. And he was murdered in 1987. And then Bunny Whaler, a man who famously didn't want to go on tour. Imagine being a musician and not wanting to tour. What kind of musician is that? That musician's Bunny Whaler. So he'd rather feed his chickens and plant his crops. So we have three ways of being black in the middle half of the 20th century, in Jamaica at least anyway. The accommodator, the militant, and the man in retreat. And I built a narrative around those three men. And then I wrote a book about growing up in Luton, the capital of England, called Bad Guy at the Wheel. Anybody read the book? I know Amy's read the book. Oh, there's a few book readers in the house. Yeah, so Bad Guy is the name of my father. So he's a Jamaican man. Both my parents are from Jamaica. Yay! Yeah! Jamaican in the house. And in Jamaica, that's Bert Williams, by the way. Respect to Bert. In Jamaica, you might get a nickname. So my father had baggy eyes, so they called him Bad Guy. And in this book I wrote about growing up with all these wonderful Caribbean people who were our entertainment. Of a Friday night, we had no television in 1972, which is when the book was written. I wrote it actually more recently than that, but it's about 1972. The men and the women would be our entertainment. So Bad Guy had baggy eyes, Shine was bald, Pumpkinhead had a pumpkin-shaped head, Clock had one arm longer than the other, and my all-time favourite was the guy they called Summerwear. Now, when Summerwear came to this country from Jamaica, he insisted on wearing light summer suits, no matter the weather. Come rain or shine, hail or storm, light tropical suits. And in the course of writing my book, I asked my mum whatever became of Summerwear, and my mum said, well, within a few months he caught a cold and died. Such a sad. So I wrote a kind of humorous, ironic tale about the folks around Summerwear. So this new book is an oral history, and I've looked at the role and the importance and the impact of Caribbean people in this country since the arrival of many ships. Who's heard of the Windrush? Anybody heard of the Windrush?
Yeah.
Who's heard of the Ormonde? Anybody heard of the Ormonde? So the Ormonde came the year before the Windrush. Who's heard of the Almanzora? Anybody heard of the Almanzora? The Almanzora came the year before the Ormonde. So it's peculiar that we focus on Windrush because there were boats that came before. As you know, there are many boats that came before that. And Marcus Garvey, my man, came in 1912, and then again in 1935. I'll read a little bit. Not read all of this, because Amy's going to say cuts. So I've got three picky. Who knows what a picky is? Pickaninny, children. I've got three children, and little pickaninnies we call them. Picnic, as we say in Jamaica. And I live not far from here, up on the Golden Circle, over there. I actually gave out the name of my address. My wife told me off the other day. I can't say that I live on South End Avenue. Oops. Yeah. So when I get excited from researching any book that I'm writing, I'll come down in the evening, expect to be fed, obviously, and I sometimes cook as well. And I get so excited, the words are tripping out of my mouth, and I'm going on and on about Bob Marley, Marcus Garvey, and my kids are like, Dad, nobody cares. And so So they do care, really. But the trick is to make them care. And they care more now about my mother, who's still with us and lives not far from me. They care more about this generation, the so-called Windrush generation, because of the storm around the Windrush. I actually started writing this book way before the debacle began, because as you all know, the hostile environment didn't begin in 1999 or 2011, began in 1948 or thereabouts, or even before. It's nice being here, actually, because this reminds me, who's been to Accra? You've been to Accra and Ghana? On a Friday night, and the doors open, and there's street people out there, and they're going to come in. It's a nice kind of being on the streets and coming down with the people. All right, so my parents, Reithian, you know that my father's got Bagger, my mother's got Reithian. So my parents, Reithian and Bagger, came to England in the late 1950s. I was born here. As a teenager, I worked out a neat little summary for the times when people asked me where I was from. I'd say I was British by birth, but Jamaican by will and inclination. If ever Bagger ever heard me, he'd break me. Stop, talk, tripe. You're born right here. You are English. I am British. Now let's get that straight. Don't let the man take you for a fool. Protest. Stonewall racing.
Is it about race?
Take over. Yeah, she really does. No, it's cool. It's very colorful. I ordered them, actually, these are my fans. Unfortunately, they didn't get the tickets. And sadly, they are passing it. Now you return your attention to me. Okay, so who knows how to fold the Union flag? Who knows what the Union flag is? Who knows what the Union Jack is? How many British people in the house? Yeah. Anyway, so my mum knew how to fold the Union flag. My mum was born in Jamaica, and as a girl guide in Jamaica, they were taught to fold the Union flag. My mum knows how to recite many, many poems by Rudyard Kipling, Bangladesh, and she can recite them by rote. She recites Shelley and Keats and Wordsworth by rote. This is Jamaica in the 1940s. This is what she's learning. She's learning about Jamaican poetry. She's learning about Shelley. At the end of the screening in the cinema, go to the Rialto cinema. But I didn't go to the Rialto in Kingston. There's a nice cinema called the Rialto, and my mum talked about the fact that at the end of the screening, people would just stand up and sing the national anthem. And when she came to England, she did the same, and people didn't stand. She was rather amused by it. I thought something weird must have happened. Maybe she wasn't in Britain after all. The problem, Bert is in the book, by the way, so I've interviewed about 40 people for this book, and lots of archive as well. And one of the things that you need to establish when you come to a foreign country is where you're going to get your food from. Imagine, I mean, who's been to see, I'm asking lots of questions, aren't I? Very questioning kind of a time. Who's been to see Small Island? There's a really lovely line in Small Island by Andrew Levy where she talks about, well, one of the characters talks about the state of the English food. And they say, it looks like it's already been eaten. It's presented to you. So when you came here, it's difficult to get rice, isn't it, Bert? You had to get sort of rice they use for rice pudding. And in Luton, where I know you know I'm from, there was only one person who sold Jamaican food. She was called Mrs. Henry. So Mrs. Henry had a stall, a Jamaican stall, in the Arndale Centre. And you'd go to buy a piece of yam. Anybody eat yam here? You'd go buy a piece of yam, a long tubular yam, maybe as long as this paper, and it'd be rotten at one end. And you say, just cut that rotten bit off. And she'd say, it's so we buy it, it's so it must sell. And you have to have the rotten bit as well. Pay for the rotten bit. You can't, by the way, don't ever argue with a Jamaican. Right? Never, lesson number one, never argue with a Jamaican. So Marcus Garvey, as you all know, I read a book about Marcus Garvey, who in his day, he was the Barack Obama of his day. There was Garvey and there was God, as far as his followers were concerned. And some people thought he was a charlatan and a buffoon. But Marcus Garvey, contrary to what many Rastas believe, Marcus Garvey sounded like me. Because Marcus Garvey, I say about Rastas, because there are many songs about Marcus Garvey. They sold Marcus Garvey for rice. Burning Spear sings a lot about Marcus Garvey. So Marcus Garvey, when he was about 19, he took elocution lessons, because to get on in life, you've got to get rid of your accent, right? Especially from the regions. That's how it used to be. So he took elocution lessons, and he went along and took part in elocution competitions around the country, in Jamaica, very popular. And he was very good at doing very famous speeches, and would always win, until one day, a heckler jeered him, and he went off his stride and he came third. And Marcus Garvey was so incensed about this transgression that he sued the heckler and won. So no heckling tonight. Yeah? Be warned. Yeah, we're not having any heckling with this guy. Now, I interviewed many people who were mostly, the people I adored were non-Jamaicans, because Jamaicans take up too much room, they take up too much noise, make too much noise, and they have too much of a presence in the culture. I mean, I'm sure Bert will tell you that when the other islanders came, people from South America came from this country, from St. Kitts or Guyana, Antigua, they'd be stopped, and someone would say, "Where are you from?" They'd say, "Oh, I'm from Georgetown, Barbados." And the English person would say, "Well, what part of Jamaica is that?" They were really perplexed by the fact that people, although these countries were part of the Commonwealth, people in Britain didn't really know much about them. So I'm going to give you a few quotes from the book. So, unfortunately, I'm not in the book very much, and I've kind of excised myself. And so the idea is to kind of create a narrative based on the memories of these people who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s now, and to give you a flavour of the kind of things that I learned. And I learned a lot of things. I learned how to be a bit more humble and to be patient, and to show a bit of respect. Why is respect the most common and most important word in the Jamaican lexicon? Because there wasn't much respect during the days. Man, it's really kicking off outside. But anyway, if they come to me, you've got my back, right? I remember in 1968, I was 7 in 1968, and there was a man called Enoch Powell who gave a very famous speech called, it's become known as the Rivers of Blood speech. And I was at a school, actually it's like an Irish school. I mean, where I lived, there were mostly Irish people. The Irish people and a handful of Caribbean people. And after Enoch Powell gave this very famous speech, do you know the speech? It was more of saying, you guys aren't wanted. Enough already, we're still here. So the kids used to tease me and taunt me. And they said, you might as well pack your bags. You're on your way out, kid, you're in your family. And Sister Philomena heard about the taunting. And Sister Philomena came to the classroom. I got that. In fact, I was smaller years ago. I got the same height as Sister Philomena, about 5'2". And she once said to these Irish kids, be careful what you wish for, because, I paraphrase, because she said, if they come for Colin in the morning, they'll be coming for you in the afternoon. And I think she was right. She's right. Okay, so here's a few choice lines from the book. So, because you're all so young, I just happen to assume you don't know things that I was exposed to when I was your age. So, Ealing comedies were very famous and funny. Some people do that. Yeah. And Ealing comedies, these funny little comedies, there was a tradition of black and white filmmaking, and they were all made in Ealing, and it was quaint British humour. And that's what was shown in Jamaica. So this guy, Viv Adams, who happens to be my uncle, when he writes in Gatwick in 1960, it wasn't like I was an immigrant. I felt like I was home, because we had been used to Ealing, England, and those images from the Ealing movies. All those comedians we used to watch in the cinema. That was what we thought England was like. So when I arrived at Gatwick, nothing surprised me. When I saw the district nurse on her push bike, I said to my brother, "Look, Hattie Jakes." So Hattie Jakes is a famous... It doesn't really work, does it? You don't know how Hattie Jakes is. But anyway, she was very famous, and she was very characterful, and she often rode bicycles when she was a district nurse. Anyway. Eric Johnson, all those days, I never came across any colour discrimination from anybody. They were all nice when they told me that they had nothing for me as work. They had nothing for me. Sometimes they would have taken me on, but as it was, I was just a few hours too late. Boy, the Englishman can be the nicest man out there when he's telling you no. That's Eric Johnson. Waverley Bushell, who's 92 years old, has more energy than I am. She's an amazing woman. She's an educationalist. She's from Guyana. And she talks about, because what I try to get in the book is to get beyond the cliches, because you might have heard of the phrase when people were looking for accommodation back in the days, no dogs, no Irish, no blacks. So she had a few difficulties in that regard. There are all these little cards in windows that said no blacks. Up to now, after 50 years in this country, I would be apprehensive going up to anybody's step in case the person who owns the house is white. So that shows you that these traumas, they persist. You may think it's a trivial thing, but to be rejected is quite hurtful, and people retain the hurt. Just to change up the tone a little bit. So you've got to also remember that it's very exciting to, a lot of these people who came were very young adults. The average age of the people on the Windrush is 24. But you were like a teenager when you came, weren't you? Yeah.
Still is.
Still as a teenager. So, my mother was a teenager as well, and they all learned about England through the books. And there's a guy called Wallace Collins, and he said, he's writing back home now, he's just arrived, he's 19, he's writing back home, he says, as I stood beside the fountain in Trafalgar Square, a pigeon came and perched on top of my head and shit on it. And I was undaunted and proud, and I wrote home to my mother that I am making history. So, I liked him enormously. I'm just going to I'm going to wrap up now, and I'll tell you a little bit about why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because I wanted to imitate my father's walk. So now, who doesn't want to imitate a cool walk? My father, I kind of imitated, but I wanted to capture the walk, or capture the essence of the walk, because the Jamaicans had style. Style. When you have nothing, you have to have something that denotes people else. You adopt a style. You style it out. So that guy had an enormous amount of style and energy and charisma, but he's also resigned to the fact that he couldn't get the kind of jobs that intellectually he should have got. And I say in the book that bad guy, he walked like a footballer on the losing side of the FA Cup final, mounting the steps to collect his loser's condolence medal. There was dignity in defeat.
I'm very Colin Grant, so I can see that walk. Please put your hands together again for Colin Grant.